How to eradicate worry using Simplified Kundalini Yoga practices. Be blessed. Worry is a kind of mental disease which arises due to wrong calculations. It is the state of one's mental aggravation due to the things desired or the inability to estimate the consequence of actions correctly. Then one loses one's mental balance. The basic reason for worry is the difference between what one imagines should happen and what actually happens. This may be termed as a deficiency of stock as opposed to need, or the difference between desire and its achievement. The events or actual happenings are a chain of actions based on the principles of cause and effect system operating under the law of nature. Man often makes the basic mistake of estimating a benefit or result without really understanding the law of nature. This alone creates worry. Inefficiency and fear are the two main factors that give rise to worries. Inefficiency may be defined as losing one's mental alertness, inability to understand the law of nature, and lack of basic training in thinking correctly while attempting to solve problems. Fear, on the other hand, is imagining that the consequences of one's actions will be bad or painful, or that possible adverse events in life will nearly always occur. Worry wears down health. In its advanced stage, life itself becomes a failure or struggle. Man must necessarily eradicate such an evil from his mind. As I indicated, in order to remove worries, one must understand law of nature. Then the faculty of correct thinking must be developed. Self-confidence must be infused. And finally, one must make the requisite endeavor and have courage. Under the law of nature, everything necessary for the birth and the existence of all living creatures is provided. This principle is called Providence. A soul's self-endeavor and capacity is thwarted when functioning in a state of emotion, jealousy, and ignorance. This results mostly in worries. However, the capacity to secure relief from pains, miseries, and worries, as well as the strength to endure them, is also embodied in every living being. When that capacity to face pain and worry is drained from the life energy, a state of unconsciousness results where the pinch of worry is not felt. When worries cannot be solved or borne, or when they swell to alarming proportions, then the inevitable death comes to the rescue and separates the soul from the body. All this occurs according to the law of nature. One should understand and always try to remember that a mighty force is protecting, helping, and guiding us all throughout our lives. It is very often professed that man's life is filled with problems. There are reasons for that. Man enjoys all the natural resources only after artificially changing them. Such a way of life forces him to adopt a community living. If the community in a nation is highly cultured and the government is administered by a panel of socially conscious wise men, then individual problems will gradually reduce and even come to nothing. But if this is otherwise, then the problems will increase in direct proportion to the multitude of defects in the culture and the government, and thus worries begin. And they develop to the extent of interfering with and impairing peace and happiness in life. As a result, the responsibility of the individual to deal with worries increases more and more. The eradication of worries by application of a systematic practice is an art of life. In this scientific computer age, it is an essential part of education for all adults and an intrinsic need for man. Let us begin the practice. Visit simplifiedkundaliniyoga.com and start your journey of consciousness and get rid of your worries forever. Be blessed by the divine.